Hello there, this is Bick Benedict. We're playing Rise of the Tomb Raider on the PC, and this is the hardest difficulty walkthrough that I'm doing for this particular iteration of Tomb Raider. And what I'm doing here is using the jammable technique with the broadhead arrows to thrust them into the wall and use them as a means of platforming. So you can do that, or you can either shoot them. It's up to you. You'll never be forced to choose between which method that you want to do, which I really appreciate in this game. Because some of the platforming from this point forward is just going to get really crazy. Like excuse me, I had to clear my throat. You'll kind of look at what you're supposed to do, take a metaphorical step back in your mind, and just say to yourself, like, this isn't even gonna be possible. These jumps are too crazy. The ledges are too far apart. But to the game's credit, its real credit, it works really well. It is a little assistive in nature, but it has to be with what they want you to do, just because sometimes the game, it will kind of lead you into the right direction or snap you into place, and if it didn't, it would just lead to a lot of frustration. I think it would sort of be like how it is in Lords of Shadow with all the frustrating jumps and platformings in that game. Somebody asked me if I would ever cover Lords of Shadow 2 again. I own that game on PC. I don't think I ever would cover it again, because you didn't think I would make that, did I? Did you? I came to really dislike Lords of Shadow 2, to be honest, with the open world and with all the splashy combat and particle effects getting in your way constantly, and just the lame story structure and the way that they just moved so far away from the original. And I've heard stories that it was the director's fault, or somebody's responsible for sabotaging the creativity of everybody else, but I don't know what happened with that all. But there's going to be a lot of hard stealth sections in this game. They work really well. In fact, they work where it starts off really small, really easy, the way it should start off, and then it gradually gets increasingly difficult. Excuse me. I never ask for something to be easy every time. I just ask that when a person is learning how to play a game, I just ask that it's easy at first, because there's plenty of time to make it insanely hard down the road, like Ninja Gaiden Sigma. There was plenty of time. That game starts out insanely difficult, and it only gets easier. You know why? Because you upgrade and you get all your moves. But the first chapter of Sigma is the hardest chapter of all, no matter what. And I just think that's incongruously making it more difficult. Because you have an entire game to make something hard. You only have a small little window where the player is learning things in, like, tutorials and things like that. So make it count. But some games just fall flat of it. So I think this first encounter up here, there's just going to be a couple guys. Yeah, one of them is going to have felled a deer. So you want to shoot an arrow there. Looks like they didn't hear it at first. Shoot an arrow there. Take him out. And then take this guy out. If you do it in the opposite order, the guy who felled the deer will see. So just be careful of that. He saw me a bunch of times. I'm not sure how he did. But, bam. One section's done. It wasn't hard. But now it's getting increasingly difficult. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fire an arrow for a distraction right there. I'm going to do an aerial takedown on this guy. I love the way she holds the knife like that. That is so fucking cool. And then you've got to sprint to this guy because you don't want this guy getting out of your sight. And then you want to go back the way you came to take care of the guy who's investigating the source of the arrow noise. And then from here, we're going to ignore those guys because... Actually, no, we take those guys out. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to size these guys up. Okay. Yeah, we are going to... Excuse me. We are ignoring those guys for now. We're not ignoring this guy, though. We're going to wait until he comes over here. This guy is on the edge of the perimeter. Wait until he gets to about this location to take him down. If you take him down closer, the other guys will see. So now, I think I'm going to save those two guys for last. And then go take out, yeah, those guys. There's two sets of two more enemies. I think. Oh, no. We're not quite there yet. See how it gets increasingly difficult? It was hard, but it's not at the extreme level of hard like the next fight is. It's beautiful. It goes from like a challenge level of like a 2 to a 5 and then to a 7 or an 8. And I think that's just wonderful. And you know, like if you're doing different waves, you know how God of War did a lot of waves like in the Loom Chamber? You can have it so that a fight starts off really hard and then kind of goes easy and then, you know, there's smaller waves. But I'm just talking about at the very beginning of your game. So, what I do is, you guys, is I take him out, and then I take this guy out, and then I go up here, along the right side of it, and I'm going to throw a bottle because you're not vulnerable while you're aiming, and you are vulnerable to being seen while you aim the bow. So I thought it was a more logical choice right there. And then you want to take out this guy with all the armor, and then take out the guy who's investigating the crashed bottle any way you choose to. And then we've got, I think, 5 more enemies actually. So we've got him. So you want to come up here and take him out very quickly because his friend is going to investigate the guy we just killed. So you need to be sprinting, like already clicking the sprint button to take this guy out. Okay, so at this point there's 3 more guys. You've got to be careful about getting seen because sometimes I've been behind this truck over here and they still saw me. So there's one guy on either side of the truck, and to the extreme left by the wall there's another enemy. I think he's a heavy. He might not be though, but it doesn't much matter because this is all stealthy anyway. So zoom in, take a headshot, reload, shoot this guy in the head. That guy should have, in theory, have been seen by this next guy we're going to take out, but fortunately he never does. So we're going to come up to this location, fire an arrow into the wall, listen for him to say something, and then make your final move. That's damn hard to get all those things to work. But it's all like clockwork. See, stealthy? It's all like clockwork if you practice it enough. Okay, so there's the only fight that's going to probably give you some difficulty on is the one where there's very limited cover and there's a lot of heavily body armored enemies with laser sights in a room filled with smoke. This phase here is just 2 foes deep. So take him out first of all. There's a pretty hard section coming up after this though. From a stealth point perspective, you may have noticed that in this guide I always chose to do the stealth. I just think it's the most rewarding part of the game. So come up here shoot a distraction into the tree. The guy to the right will investigate. You take out this guy, then you take out his friend as fast as you want to. And then hug the tree right here. Literally hug it. Start hugging it, motherfucker. And then go up here. This guy has been asked by his friend to help, so take bitch down. And then repeat the process. And then you want to double back the way you came. Over, edge along this truck. Actually, no, excuse me, no doubling back. A poison arrow for those two guys. Cause a distraction for this guy. Wait until this guy moves to the right. And then take him down. This was not as hard as the previous fight, but it could be if you're struggling there. In fact, it might be as hard as that previous fight because I did have to employ the use of a poison arrow there, and that's kind of a get out of jail free card most times. So come on into this building. There's a few things to grab in this region. We're going to go up the stairs, head over to where the cell blocks are. And I wouldn't say we're at the end of the game, but we're nearing like one of the final phases of the game. We're getting into it. That was an edit right there. Because after the cutscene they stick you up here, so I tried to make it as cohesive as I could. Now the thing about this next kill is I don't think there's time enough to stealth this guy without him turning around. I've gone through this game about 3 times now, and every time this guy always turns around. I just don't think it's possible to stealth kill him. So swing your way Indiana Jones style over to this venue. It's going to snap you right into place. See what I mean about it snapping you into place so much? Okay. So there is a campfire up here. So if you don't have any poison arrows, what I would recommend is fast travel to an area where you can find those poison arrows and craft them, because they will help out on a really hard part coming up. How many do you need? Well, it kind of depends on how many you have. If you have 2, that's plenty. If you have 3, that's more than enough. If you have 1, you might need to get another one, but the shotgun and everything like that and the assault rifle should be good enough for you with just 1 poison arrow. So it looks like we've got a mandatory fight coming up here. We've got a guy rushing us. Sometimes when you press X it jumps up like that. I'm not sure why. X is most definitely not the jump button. So you'll come in here now. These guys are going to be tossing grenades at you, so be very careful here. I love the laser sight. It's so cool. This game to me would be perfect if you can control the look sensitivity. Like, I'm not even harping at it anymore to complain. I'm just fervently, like, I have a longing that they would increase the sensitivity, and you know, sort of a fantasy that I could have it like that, because it would be so nice. But it's not something you should fantasize. You should have to fantasize about. It should be a reality. So, watch out for these guys who rush you. Shotgun is your best bet for those scenarios. But when you come up here, you're going to get a cutscene. These guys are going to throw poison gas your way. And then this is probably the hardest part in the chapter. You want to hold the left trigger to submerge yourself, and then come over yonder. You can get a first kill here for free. So take him out. And then it kind of depends which hole you want to go out of, in the hole, which of these holes in the ground. I really don't think there's any particular best strategy here, because you're going to have to engage in combat, and when everybody is coming at you, it's hard to gracefully kill people when you can't really see them, and when cover is so lacking in the first place. So I chose to throw a poison arrow at this guy. A couple of poison arrows, I think, and maybe a fire arrow or two. Just clean up everybody as nice as you can. It's over before it even half begins. And that has been chapter 12, you guys. We're already in chapter 13. Wow. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you over there.